All of the men of Shechem, all these words in their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, He is our brother. And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of the house of Baal-berith, wherewith Abimelech hired vain and light persons, which followed him. And he went into his father's house at Ophrah, and slew his brethren, the sons of Jerubbaal, being 70 persons, upon one stone. Notwithstanding, yet Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, for he hid himself. And all the men of Shechem gathered together, and all the house of Millo, and went, and made Abimelech king by the plain of the pillar that was in Shechem. And when they told it to Jotham, he went and stood in the top of Mount Gerizim, and lifted up his voice, and cried, and said unto them, Hearken unto me, ye men of Shechem, that God may hearken unto you. The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them. And they said unto the olive tree, Reign thou over us. But the olive tree said unto them, Should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? And the trees said to the fig tree, Come thou and reign over us. But the fig tree said unto them, Should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to be promoted over the trees? Then said the trees unto the vine, Come thou and reign over us. And the vine said unto them, Should I leave my wine, which cheereth God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? Then said all the trees unto the bramble, Come thou and reign over us. And the bramble said unto the trees, And if in truth ye anoint me king over you, come and put your trust in my shadow. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Now, there's lessons in this, but sometimes the language of things like trees and animals and all that becomes possible to understand for some people at some points. And a common thing in particularly tribal mythology is this idea of a deity that is affected by the drugs themselves. Now, I know Yahweh goes beyond the whole tribal motif, but it's a very common myth here that, we're going to get God drunk, we're going to get God high, and I mean, people don't talk about it much anymore, but now, therefore, if you have done truly and sincerely, and that ye have made Abimelech king, and if ye have dealt well with Jerubbaal and his house, and have done unto him according to the deserving of his hands, for my father fought for you, and adventured his life far, and delivered you out of the hand of Midian. And ye are risen up against my father's house this day, and have slain his sons 70 persons upon one stone, and have made Abimelech, the son of his maidservant, king over the men of Shechem, because he is your brother. If ye have dealt truly and sincerely with Jerubbaal and with his house this day, then rejoice ye in Abimelech, and let him also rejoice in you. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech, and devour the men of Shechem, and the house of Millo, and let fire come out from the men of Shechem, and from the house of Millo, and devour Abimelech. And Jotham ran away, and fled, and went to Beer, and dwelt there, for fear of Abimelech his brother. When Abimelech had reigned 3 years over Israel, then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem. And the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech, that the cruelty done to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come, and their blood be lain upon Abimelech their brother, which slew them, and upon the men of Shechem, which aided him in the killing of his brethren. And the men of Shechem set lairs in wait for him in the top of the mountains, and they robbed all that came along that way by them. Set liars and wait for them. Okay, yeah. Set liars and wait for them. But and Gaal, is it Gaal? The son of Ebed came with his brethren and went over to Shechem, and the men of Shechem put their confidence in him. And Gaal the son of Ebed said, Who is Abimelech, and who is Shechem, that we should serve him? Is not he the son of Jerubbaal, and Zebul his officer? Serve the men of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for why should we serve him? And would to God this people were under my hand, then I would remove Abimelech. And when Zebul, the ruler of the city, heard the words of Gaal the son of Ebed, his anger was kindled, and he sent messengers unto Abimelech, privily saying, Behold, Gaal the son of Ebed and his brother be come to Shechem, and behold, they fortify the city against thee. Now therefore, up by night, thou and the people that is with thee, and lie in wait in the field. And it shall be that in the morning, as soon as the sun is up, thou shalt rise early and set upon the city. And behold, when he and the people that is with him come out against thee, then mayest thou do to them as thou shalt find occasion. And Abimelech rose up, and all the people that were with him by night, and they laid wait against Shechem in 4 companies. And Gaal the son of Ebed went out, and stood in the entering of the gate of the city. And Abimelech rose up, and the people that were with him, from lying in wait. And when Gaal saw the people, he said to Zebul, Behold, there come people down from the top of the mountains. And Zebul said unto him, Thou seest the shadow of the mountains, as if they were men. And Gaal spoke again, and said, See, there come people down by the middle of the land. And another company come along by the plain of Meonanim. Is that how it goes? And then Zebul said unto him, Where is now thy mouth, wherewith thou saidst, Who is Abimelech, that we should serve him? Is not this people that thou hast despised? Go out, I pray now, and fight with them. And Gaal went out before the men of Shechem, and fought with Abimelech, and Abimelech chased him, and fled before him, and many were overthrown and wounded, even unto the entering of the gate. And it came to pass on the morrow that the people went out into the field, and they told Abimelech, and he took the people and divided them into 3 companies, and laid wait in the field, and looked, and behold, the people were come forth out of the city. And he rose up against them, and smote them. And Abimelech and the company that was with him rushed forward, and stood in the entering of the gate of the city. And the 2 other companies ran upon all the people that were in the fields and slew them. And Abimelech fought against the city all that day. And he took the city and slew the people that was therein, and beat down the city and sowed it with salt. Then went Abimelech to Thebez, and encamped against Thebez and took it. But there was a strong tower within the city, and thither fled all the men and women, and all they of the city, and shut it to them, and got them up to the top of the tower. And Abimelech came unto the tower, and fought against it, and went hard unto the door of the tower to burn it with fire. And a certain woman cast a piece of millstone upon Abimelech's head, and all to break his skull. Then he called hastily unto the young man, his armor-bearer, and said unto him, Draw thy sword, and slay me, that men say not of me, A woman slew him. And his young man thrust him through, and he died. And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they departed every man unto his place. Thus, God rendered the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did unto his father, in slaying 70 brethren, and all the evil of the men of Shechem did God render upon their heads. And upon them came the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal. And it's not quite falling on your own sword, but ordering somebody to kill you is, you're taking part in that. So you get credit for what you're and does it really matter who killed you? Story of Jephthah's daughter. Now, Jephthah, the Gileadite, was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of a harlot. And Gilead begot Jephthah. And are we switching the T's for TH's here? And I'm presuming the J is for a Y. And Gilead's wife bore him sons, and his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah, and said unto him, Thou shalt not inherit it. Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. Then Jephthah fled from his brethren, and dwelt in the land of Tob, and there were gathered vain men to Jephthah, and went out with him. And it came to pass in the process of time that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. Then the Spirit of the Lord came unto Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpah of Gilead, and from Mizpah of Gilead he passed over unto the children of Ammon. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord, and said, If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the children of Ammon shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and God as a noun and verb delivered them into his hands, and he smote them from Aroer, even till thou come to Minnith, even 20 cities, and the plain of the vineyards, with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. Sometimes O takes the place of sometimes ah, and in this case, I believe it's v. And Jephthah came into Mizpah. Is it Mitzpah? Unto his house, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances, and she was his only child. Beside her he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, thou hast brought me very low, and thou art one of them that trouble me, for I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back. And she said unto him, My father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto the Lord, do to me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth, forasmuch as God is a noun and verb, hath taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies, even the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father, Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down upon the mountains, and bewail my virginity, I and my fellows. And he said, Go. And he sent her away for 2 months. And she went with her companions, and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months that she returned to her father, who did with her according to his vow with which he had vowed. And she knew no man. And it was a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite 4 days in a year. And that's sort of the essence of Judaism, isn't it? Is that something occurred among people who were considered Israelites or Jews, and it's something that people did, or there was a custom. And so by the time it became like a way unto itself, it really, can we say that there ever was a Judaism? I mean, only one, rather than a whole series of them. The story of Samson. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of God as a noun and verb, and God as a noun and verb delivered them into the hand of the Philistines. Well, that's a twist on something else, but 40 years. And there were certain men of Zorah, and the family of Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren, and bore not. And the angel of the Lord, and the angel of God as a noun and verb, appeared unto the woman and said unto her, Behold, now thou art barren, and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing, for lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazarene unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. And the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God as a noun and verb. Now, angel in English is very, very ambiguous. We're talking about a whole different level of creation. Like another part talks about a level of creation that's like humans, but it's like fire. There are biblical verses that say that. So we got 3, clay, fire, and water. So the angels are, kind of spotless. They can't sin. They're just, they're ordered by God, basically. So messenger. Very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarene unto God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah entreated God as a noun and verb and said, O my Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. And in this case, words are coming through. But by messenger, it also, in the case of the word that we were using for angel, can refer to not delivering a message, like carrying out the message in form of the physical or spiritual worlds of action. And God hearkened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again unto the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And the woman made haste and ran, and showed her husband, and said unto him, Behold, the man hath appeared unto me, that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said unto him, Art thou the man that spokest unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? And the angel of God, as a noun and verb, said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. Now, particularly being careful of such things when you're pregnant, because you can mess up the fetus for life. Of course, nowadays there's that idea, don't tell us what to do with our bodies because of, for the sake of the children. It's like, well, you believe that. And Manoah said unto the angel of God, as noun and verb, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we shall have made ready a kid for thee. And the angel of God, as a noun and verb, said unto Manoah, Though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread. And if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto God, as a noun and verb. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord. See, we see this sort of thing going on with Abraham before. And sort of Moses, because Moses, the bush. Did Moses know the bush was, oh, that must be God over there? Or this must be God's special sight for me? I'm just, And Manoah said unto the angel of God, as a noun and verb, What is thy name, that when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor? And the angel of God, as a noun and verb, said unto him, Why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is secret? So Manoah took a kid with a meat offering, and offered it upon a rock. Kid is an animal, not unto God as a noun and verb. And the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on, for it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of God, as a noun and verb, ascended in the flame of the altar, and Manoah and his wife looked on it, and fell upon their faces to the ground. But the angel of God as a noun and verb, did no more to appear to Manoah and to his wife. And then Manoah knew that he was an angel of God as a noun and verb. And Manoah said unto his wife, We shall surely die, because we have seen God. But his wife said unto him, If God as a noun and verb were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands, neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would, as at this time, have told us such things as these. And the woman bore a son, and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and God as a noun and verb blessed him. And the Spirit of God as a noun and verb began to move him at times in the camp of Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. And Samson went down to Timnath, and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother, and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? Now there's indication that the Israelites, when they came north, that circumcision came in later. It was practiced amongst some of the Egyptians, and they kind of stepped away from it, and the the people of the north practiced it, but they kind of so they blended back into the cultures in other ways too. And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of God as a noun and verb, that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For that time the Philistines had dominated over Israel. Well, sometimes it's not who dominates, but are they treating each other right? If no one's treating anybody right, might makes right is fair enough, but then went Samson down, and his father and his mother, to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath. And behold, a young lion roared against him, and the Spirit of God as a noun and verb came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid, and he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father nor his mother what he had done. And he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And after a time he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands, and went on eating, and came to his father and mother. And he gave them, and they did eat. But he told them not that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made their feast. For so he used the young men to do. And it came to pass, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If ye can certainly declare it me within 7 days of the feast, and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. But if ye cannot declare it me, then shall you give me 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. And they said unto him, Out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. And it came to pass on the 7th day, when they said unto Samson's wife, Entice thy husband, that he made clear unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to take that? We have. Is it not so? Now I understand the use of fire on combatants in war and that sort of thing, but punishing people by burning to death, I don't believe in that. And Samson's wife wept before him and said, Thou dost but hate me, and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it me. And he said unto her, Behold, I have not told it my father, nor my mother, and shall I tell it thee? And she wept before him 7 days, while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her, because she lay sore upon him, and she told the riddle to the children of her people. And the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day before the sun went down, What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said unto them, If ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle. And the Spirit of God as noun and verb came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, and slew 30 men of them, and took their spoil, and gave change of garments unto them, which he expounded the riddle. Change of garments unto them, which expounded the riddle. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife was given to his companion, whom he had used as a friend. But it came to pass after a while, in the time of wheat harvest, that Samson visited his wife with a kid, and he said, I will go into my wife into the chamber. But her father would not suffer him to go in. And her father said, I verily thought that thou hadst utterly hated her. Therefore I gave her to thy companion. Is not her younger sister fairer than she? Take her, I pray thee, instead of her. And Samson said concerning them, Now shall I be more blameless than the Philistines, though I do them a displeasure. And Samson went and caught 300 foxes, and took firebrands, and turned tail to tail, and put a firebrand in the midst between 2 tails. And when he had set the brands on fire, he let them go into the standing corn of the Philistines, and burnt up both the shocks, and also the standing corn with the vineyards, and all of this, kernels, not. And the Philistines said, Who hath done this? And they answered, Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he had taken his wife and given her to his companion. And the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire. Yeah, when you have a serial killer.